Okay.
Okay, start now. Start. Let's start. So good, okay.
Yeah, it's starting.
So good day, everyone. Today we will be talking about doors and windows. So before
Okay.
before that, let's talk about doors. Okay, next slide. So I think we all know what doors are naman. Doors can be described as an openable barrier that is secured in a wall opening. It is provided to give access to a room. It has two parts, the door frame and the door shutter. So I guess that the term door is in itself a collective term since a natural door has many parts. There are parts for the door frame and there are parts also for the door shutter. So the doors are mainly have two parts, which are the door frame and the door shutter. So what is a door shutter? A, a door shutter is an openable part of a door. So basically, this long rectangular big piece of wood that we kind of use to move around is the door shutter itself. Then the door frame, it is an assembly of vertical and horizontal members forming an enclosure to which the shutters are fixed into. So this is where the door shutter is fixed. Para it will create a rotational movement for us to either go in or go out of the room. Next slide, please. Yeah, come on. Okay. So what are the functions of a door? So basically, doors allow for ventilation and light. They act as a barrier to noise. It controls the physical atmosphere within a space by enclosing it. So basically, when you either open or close a door, you either let some air in or out of your room, and because of that, the atmosphere or like unsa ka init or unsa ka bugnaw in your room will change as well. And lastly, it is for aesthetic purposes. Next one. There are standards for putting doors. Um, these are some of the standard rotation of doors, which should be followed at all times. There should be a minimum number of doors to avoid obstruction. The door should be located in an area that does not obstruct the required width of passageway when open, and doors should not be located at the center of a long wall. Um, in case of a long wall, doors should be placed 20 centimeters away from the corner. If there are two doors in a room, these should be located on opposite walls to provide ventilation and circulation of air can take place. And lastly, the location of a door should meet the functional requirements of a room. The next slide. So for door parts, as I've said earlier, the two main parts of the door frame and the door shutter have their own specific parts. So let's go into the door frame first. Um, there are different parts of a door frame. The first one is the sill, which is located at the very bottom part of the door frame, which rests on the floor. The next one, the jamb. The jamb is the vertical face of a door opening which supports the frame. There, as you can see, it is found on the sides of a door. And the head, the uppermost horizontal part of the frame. As you can see in the illustration, it is found on the topmost part. So, and the stops, it is what the door rests when it is closed. Um, I also think that the stops serve as a limit so that it won't either like rotate very too far or very too near to the assigned room. Architrave, this is the decorative molding on the outermost edge of the door frame. And lastly, the threshold, the bottom portion of an exterior door frame, and is used internally when transitioning from one floor covering to another. Next, we have the door shutter, and it has its own specific parts as well. The first one is the top rail. So it's like the head in the door frame, which is the topmost horizontal member of a shutter. Then the freeze rail, it sits horizontally across the next divide down between the panels on the door. The intermediate rail, built between the top and the bottom rail. Next slide, please. The bottom rail being the lowest horizontal member of a shutter. We have the style, which is an external vertical member of a shutter that joins the rails. And lastly, we have the panel, which is an enclosed area between rails. The next one. In terms of sizes of doors, there are standards also for how big or how small the doors are supposed to be built. And there are different sizes in terms of either residential buildings or public buildings. So for residential buildings, the external door should have a measurement of 1 meter by 2 meters to 1.1 meter by 2 meters. The internal doors should be 0.9 meters to 2 meters to 1 meter by 2 meters. The bath and water closet should be zero point 0.7 meters by 2 meters to 8 to zero point 0.8 meters by 2 meters. And for garages, if you have one, its standard size should be 2.25 meters by 2.25 meters, so it's basically a square, to 2.40 meters by 2.25 meters. For public buildings such as churches, post offices, and maybe government buildings, the standard door sizes should be either 1.2 meters by 2 meters, 1.2 meters by 2.1 meters, or 1.2 meters by 2.25 meters. In terms of the destination of doors, this is how the destination of doors are usually labeled, and this determines the number of shutters and the size of openings of a door. DS stands for doors having single shutter, while DT stands for doors having double shutter. The size of an opening is indicated by the number, this like canon 8, DS 20. Each of these is equivalent to 100 millimeters. So basically, you will just have to multiply the number here by 100 millimeters. So for example, this first for door serial number 1, its destination is 8DS20. So it means it is a door having a single shutter with the size of opening 800 by 2000 millimeters, and so on until we have door serial number 6, which has a destination of 12DT20, which which translates that it is a door having double shutters with an opening size of 1200 by 2000 millimeters. Thank you.
So for types of door materials, we're gonna tackle 5 materials. First, we're gonna tackle wood, which has a subcategory of the core materials, as well as hollow metal, which has 5 core materials, and then stainless steel, fiberglass, and laminate doors. So for solid wood doors, they are made either from wood slab or the most common one, which is frame and panel construction. For the wood slab, it's a stripped down door that does not include a frame. And for the frame and panel construction, it has vertical stiles and horizontal rails that form a rigid frame with minimal seasonal movement. And then the panel floats inside the frame housed in grooves. The solid wood door is made 100% made of 100% natural wood, and its sound insulation depends on the type of wood that you will use. If the wood is soft, it has good sound insulation, and it gets better if the wood is hard. For solid wood doors, they are typically used for exterior doors because of their strength and security. So for the upsides of the solid wood door, it's strong and substantial, and it has good sound insulation. But for the downsides, it's expensive and it may expand, contract, or warp if the climate is changing rapidly or it has high humidity. The second type of wooden door is the hollow core door. The hollow core door is not exactly hollow, but it has a honeycombed core placed within a solid wood outer frame, and the surface is covered with veneer, which is glued. This type of door is usually used for interior only. It's inexpensive and lightweight, and it has a minimal sound blocking ability. So for the upsides, it's inexpensive, easy to install because of its weight, and it's stable, it rarely warps. And for the downsides, it has poor insulation, poor fire resistance, it's structurally weak, and the edges are prone to damage because there's no veneer covering at the sides. So the picture on the right is how the honeycomb core looks like. The third type of door is a solid core door. It's a fine grade surface wood veneer. It's made from a fine grade surface wood veneer, which is glued over a solid core made of engineered wood, such as fiberboard or masonite. It's for exterior or interior use. It's good at fire resisting if it's at 1 3/4 inches thick. It's also resistant to contraction and expansion from humidity changes. So the upsides of solid core door is its excellent sound insulation, mid-priced, good fire resistance, it's warp resistant, and the downsides is that it's heavy, which makes it difficult to install. So the picture at the right shows the internal structure of the solid core door, and the engineered wood that they used in this picture is a particle board. And then the second type of material is the hollow metal. It's composed of a steel frame that has steel panels laminated to both sides. It's typically equipped with mounts for hinges and a pocket for a mortise lock. Often supplied with a hollow metal frame, and it can take a fair amount of abuse, which is why it's used in commercial and industrial environments, such as kitchens, and it's generally not affected by weather. However, it will eventually rust over the years, and it also lacks in insulation because it is hollow, which makes heat and cold escape. And hollow metal has 5 types of core materials. So first, we have the honeycomb. As mentioned last time, similar to the wooden door, honeycomb got its name from its honeycomb-shaped cardboard that is hardened by special resins. It's commonly used at interior openings and is heavy-duty, and it has a durable core. Polystyrene is the second core material. It is placed at the first level of insulated door core. It is basically a slab of foam that is placed in the core of the door, and it's most often used at exterior openings. The third type of core material is a polyurethane, a foam that is injected into the core and expands to fill all the available space within the cavity of the hollow metal door. It has the best insulation value among the 5 types of core materials. The fourth is the steel stiffened. It has steel channels that run the full height of the door and are spaced about 6 inches outside center across the width of the door. It is spot welded to the face and the gaps between the channels, and it is filled with insulation. It is mostly used for high abuse areas. Lastly, we have the mineral core. It is a sheet of mineral board inserted into a door. It reduces the heat that is transferred through the door to the non-fire side of the opening, which allows building occupants to pass by the opening unharmed by the heat if there is fire. Third, we have stainless steel. Stainless steel is good because of its natural resistance to corrosion, which makes it great for high salt or chemical applications. This is why people usually use steel doors when their houses are near um, coastlines or beaches. It has better durability and weather or chemical resistance than hollow metal. It can be disinfected without affecting the finish of the door, unlike hollow metal doors. It is also attractive to look at. It provides high level security. It isn't very well insulated, but it's more expensive than hollow metal doors. For the fourth one, we have fiberglass. It works well in almost any climate, even extreme cold and damp conditions. It comes in a variety of sizes, styles, and finishes. It reduces heat transfer and improves energy efficiency. And it is also designed to deter criminals with secure locks. It is one of the more expensive doors, but it is also cost effective because there is less maintenance done needed compared to the others. Fitting should also be done by a professional installer because it is quite heavy. And lastly, we have laminate doors. Laminate is made by compressing MDF with cardboard. It should only be used for interior door applications. It is very durable if only they are properly manufactured. It has a variety of exotic designs at a very affordable price. And peeling, chipping, and cracking may happen if not properly manufactured. And it is also very difficult to aesthetically repair if scratches or holes happen. So now moving on to types of door operation. So door operation is basically how the door moves. So first we have the sliding door. Sliding doors have steel rollers that move along a track provided at the top and bottom. This allows um, space to be saved and it's also usage efficient. Second, we have the folding doors. It opens by folding back in sections or panels. It is also known as bifold doors, and it can be used for internal or external room dividers. It is also usually glazed because the panels are usually made of glass. Next, we have swinging doors. Swinging doors are hinged near one edge to rotate around a vertical axis. It swings closed by itself through double action springs. Swinging doors are usually used for kitchens and restaurants also, where the waitress can just easily push the door and it will just automatically close. And then we have revolving doors also. They rotate at a central pivot. It revolves about one side of the shutter and gets closed automatically. It minimizes the entering of street noises and to avoid heat loss. Next, we have the rolling shutter doors. It acts like a steel curtain. It does not require much space. It's very strong, durable, and offer proper safety. And this kind of door is usually used for garages or warehouses. Then we have the collapsible doors. It is fabricated from mild steel flats or channels. When you open the door, all the strips are folded together, and while you close, the strips are stretched. It requires the least space, which is why it's usually used for locking the elevator doors. Then next we have the pivot doors. It functions on a special pivot hinge with pins that attach at the top and bottom of the door. It's great because it has aesthetic uniqueness and its eye-catching swinging function. These doors are usually larger in size compared to the other doors. Lastly, we have the hinge doors, which is the most common. It's one end of the door is installed on hinges. It swings inwards or outwards. So there are 6 factors to consider when looking into doors. So first, we have the material. The material affects the doors because depending on what material, it has the ability to change the properties of the door, such as durability, insulation, etc. Second, you have budget. Um, This depends on the type of project that you are doing. So if you're trying to save costs, for example, on a residential house, you may switch out the interior doors for laminate doors, and this will allow you to save money. And thirdly, we have style. So this is just based on the client, which is also under color and design. Fourth, we have energy efficiency. Depending, this also is based on material, because depending on what material you choose, the door is good at insulation. Then we have security, which includes the durability of the door as well as the hardware of the door. And lastly, we have maintenance. Some doors require less maintenance, some doors require more maintenance. So you have to consider that when you're looking into doors.
Next, we'll be talking about windows. The definition of a window is that a window is an opening in a wall, door, roof, or vehicle that allows the passage of light and may also allow the passage of sound and sometimes air. Modern windows are usually glazed or covered in some other transparent or translucent material, as such set in a frame in the opening. Many glazed windows may be open to allow ventilation or closed to exclude inclement weather. Windows may have a latch or similar mechanism to lock the window shut or to hold it open by various amounts. Next, please. There are standard locations for windows when it comes to placing them around your home or a building. For the front of a home, it's a good idea to place the window directly above your door to invite light into your entryway. Another option is to place several windows on the front of your home. This is to give light to where you first enter your home or an area where you first enter. And then next for the bedroom, when it comes to bedrooms, functionality is more important than view. A small window is preferable since you want as little light as possible to enter the bedroom at night, because when nighttime you have to have less light so that you may be able to sleep well. Next slide, please. For the office, it's important that your window is in the correct position so it doesn't leave a glare on your computer screen. Placing the window 4 or more feet above the ground is crucial to avoid blinding sunlight. If possible, position the window so it's facing north or south rather than east or west, because in east or west, it's where the sun rises and sets. So this is to avoid any glare on your computer screen or any like disturbance to your work. Harsh sunlight can stream through back again, can stream to the east as the west facing window, making it difficult to see for the computer. Next, please. For the kitchen, most people choose to place a window above the sink so they can look out as they wash dishes. But if you have to reach over the sink to get at the window, you'll want to choose a window that's easy to open and close. A casement window is a functional option. You turn a crank to open it outwards, making it easy for you. Next, please. For the living room, it's preferable if you can choose a window location that provides a view of the outdoors, since you are in the living room and you want to enjoy yourself. Another benefit of a large living room window is the bright light that invites into the room. However, make sure light from the window isn't going to leave a glare on your television screen so that while you're relaxing yourself, you can at least see what you are watching. Next slide. For bathrooms, windows should be positioned high enough so that you can enjoy the sunlight while maintaining your privacy, since a bathroom is where you deal with your private matters. Skylights are an excellent option with this, because skylights, the sunlight is coming from above instead of anywhere that can violate your privacy. Next, please. These are the window parts where there's a head jamb, which is the one on the top, an upper sash, a stile, lower sash, a sill or stool, an apron, which is underneath the sill, a mullion, which is the center of the window, architrave, a reveal, and then the frame of the window, the casement for the glass, transom, which is within the casement, the glazing bar or montin, and then the pane or light where the light passes through, and then the rail for the window. Next slide.
Okay, so for the types of windows, these are the following types of windows. Next slide, please. The first type of window is the casement window. So the casement window is a window that is attached to its frame by one or more hinges at the side. It is used singly or in pairs within a common frame, in which case they are hinged on the outside. Casement windows are often held open using a casement stay. Next slide, please. So for steel windows, they can be fixed directly in the masonry opening in the wall, and they can also be fitted in a wooden frame fixed in the window opening in the wall. And steel windows are called this mainly because of the material used of the window. Next, please. So for bay window, this is a window space projecting outward from the main walls of a building and forming a bay in a room. So they may come in different forms, like they can be in a square, circular, or polygonal in shape. And these windows admit more light and can improve the appearance of the building since the building won't be so flat. Next, please. The fourth type is the clerestory window, and they are provided near the top of the main roof as shown in the picture. And they are also provided in a room which has greater ceiling height than the surrounding rooms. And they provide ventilation to the inside of the room and improve the appearance of a building. Next, please. So for the fifth, it's the corner windows, and these are the windows provided at the corner of a room. And by use of this corner window, it is possible to ensure light and ventilation from two directions at right angles. And it also improves the elevation of the building. Next, please. For the dormer windows, it is a vertical window provided in the sloping roof, and its main purpose is providing light and air in the building. It also serves as an architectural feature to a building, and it is a vertical window. Next, please. So the skylight, these are the types of windows that are placed on the roof or um, yeah, it is an opening for the skylight to come in to a certain room, and it will give natural light to a room. And um, the opening for the skylight is made by cutting the common rafter suitably, and the skylight is provided with a view to permit the natural light in the room below it. Next slide, please. Next is the sliding windows, and in this type of windows, the shutter slides on the sides with the help of runners. The shutter of this type of windows consists of one or more panels which can slide either on one side or both the sides, and they are commonly used for residential buildings, hospitals, and other buildings. Next, please. The next one is glazed windows, and a glazed window is a type of casement window in which the panels are fully glazed. So the main factor why it's called glazed window is because of the panels that are glazed. And the framework of each shutter consists of two vertical stiles, a top rail and a bottom rail. Next, please. Next is the pivoted windows, and in this type of windows, the shutters are swing round the pivoted, uh, which are fixed to the window frame, and the shutter can swing or rotate either horizontally or vertically. So this can provide a better ventilation to the room. Next, please. For the louvered windows, this window is typically seen in Filipino homes, and it is a window composed of parallel glass, acrylic, or wooden louvers set in a frame, and these louvers are joined onto a track so they may be tilted open and shut in unison to control airflow, usually by turning a crank. Next slide, please. So the next slide shows the standard sizes of windows. Next slide, please. We'll be talking about the materials that are used for windows, and the first material is aluminum. Next slide. So aluminum is a light, strong material that does not warp, expand, or shrink in the presence of moisture, unlike wood, and it is easy to cut and join together and is corrosion resistant. The downside for aluminum is that it conducts heat rapidly, so the window sections are designed with a thermal break or a layer of non-conductive material that prevents the flow of heat. Next, please. For the next material, it's wood. So wood is readily available and it is easily worked on at site and but it is a poor oh yeah, it is a poor conductor of heat, and the drawback is that it expands or shrinks with changes in moisture, and decay can also appear in the presence of continuous moisture. Next, please. For UPVC or similar plastic windows, it is light and it does not warp, shrink, or decay, and it has a reasonably attractive finish that does not need maintenance. So this is the type of windows that are usually seen in residential houses. However, plastics are weak compared to aluminum or steel, so they also have a high coefficient of thermal expansion, which can cause problems for the window. So it can be deformed high in exposure to high heat. Next, please. The fourth material is steel, and steel is a very strong material which allows steel windows to have the thinnest possible frames of all materials, maximizing views. It corrodes in the presence of moisture, so it must be galvanized or treated with a high quality moisture resistant painting process. It is a good conductor of heat, so steel windows must have thermal breaks put in. The last material is glass fiber reinforced plastic, and this material is a recent addition to the range of window solutions. So they are made of high quality plastics that are reinforced with glass fibers, giving them high tensile strength and stiffness. And it shares a mixture of good qualities of metal, which has high strength and low weight, and plastic, which means there's no warping or no corrosion and has a good finish. So that wraps up our report as a group for doors and windows, and we hope that we gave you some good information about this. Thank you. Mananag-